Hello. So this is the third time that I've made this or started or attempted to make this video. The last time I got almost through and well, I got about halfway through and threw my tripod on the floor by bumping it. So we're going to hope that we get through it this time. We're going to do a work together. This is a work together for a card box. And because I've already I can start out by showing you this was my inspiration. My niece received this in her Happy Meal, and I really liked the box. I liked the size of it and the shape, and I just liked the overall, I just liked it. And so I thought, I'm going to take that apart and make it into a card box. So I did that. I tore it apart and took the dimensions and decided to make a card box from it. I did change it up a little bit. I stuck with the top opening, but I changed how it folds up because this didn't fit on an 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper. So instead I brought this down to the bottom and decided to fold it up that way. But I'll show you. I'm going to make it with you so that you can see. But I do have one made because I filmed this and then threw my tripod on the floor. So this is the box that we're going to create. This is how it opens up. And then we're going to create envelopes to fit inside of it and cards. So we're going to work together to create the whole thing. I do, because I have already filmed this a few times, I do have some things pre-cut already, but let's start and see where we get. All right, so to start off, you're going to use, we're going to make the box first, okay? So you're going to get your trimmer or your scoreboard, trusty little scoreboard, and you have a piece of paper that is cut to 8 by 10, okay? Really simple. You just cut 1 inch off the 11-inch side and 1/2 inch off the other side, and you'll have your little box. I'm using a piece of very light pink, and we're going to score at 1, 2, 5.5, and 6.5, and that's that for that side. Okay. Then we're going to score it at 1/2 inch and 1.5. And then we're going to come over here and we're going to score it at 6.5 and 7.5. Okay, so the change that I did make is the original box was 3/4 of an inch. It had 3/4 of an inch of space inside of it, but I didn't think that that would fit 4 cards very well, so I decided that I wanted mine to be about an inch. So we made an inch on ours. Okay. Once you do that, you can put your scoreboard away because you're done with it for now. Then you're going to go ahead and you're going to fold. Okay, this part here that just ends, that doesn't have the 2 inches here, this one has 2 inches on this side. So this part, this is our front. We're going to fold it in half like that. All we're going to do is touch the corners and then pinch the tip just a little. Okay? We just need that so that we can give ourselves a thumb pull. All I'm going to do here is take this punch here, and I'm just using it for the shape. You can use an oval, you can use a circle, you can use pretty much anything that would give you a little thumb pull. I just used this little tag topper. Make sure that you do not go deeper than 1 inch because your tab that's going to fold in, you want that to show, but you don't want the end of it to show. So that's 1 inch. So make sure you don't go deeper than 1 inch here. Okay. Next up, we're going to do a little bit of trimming. So first, we're going to trim here. We're starting where you put your thumb pull. Okay. We're going to start and trim this part up. Okay, you're going to trim up past your first score mark and then stop at the second one. Then we're going to come around here and you're going to cut into there and into This part's going to come off completely. And then we're going to cut that at an angle, and that part's going to be gone. And then we cut this at an angle, and that is what stays. So that's what yours is going to look like. So let's do that again over here. We're going to cut up, straight up, past your first score mark and into your stop at your second score mark. Then we remove that piece completely. We're going to cut this piece in and remove this. And you'll notice that I did it at an angle because you want this part to be angled so it will help your box close just a little bit nicer. Okay. So there you have that. That's what the bottom of your box will, essentially that's what it should look like. This is going to be this little piece right here. That's the bottom of your box. So that's what I'm referring to when I say bottom. Okay. Then let's turn it over. And up here, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to cut in to that part. Then we're going to cut this square off completely. Cut into there and cut into there, and then let's angle this one too. So that's what you're left with. Okay, same thing on this side. Cut in to the second score mark, in, remove that part, whoops, and then remove that part and that part. Okay, and then this is what you're left with. The next step then, let me just clear this off here. Next step here, take our corner rounder, fold these out of the way, and we're going to round these top corners. And I'm using my largest rounder to give it a little bit of a more rounded there. Okay, so this is your finished cutting now. It's ready to go together, but we have one more step. I want to decorate my box first. So I'm decorating mine with watercolor paper, or with watercolors. And these are watercolors that I've already made. Whenever I feel like I want to watercolor, I kind of just get some stuff together and start watercoloring, and then I save them. I just put them aside and save them. I have a bunch. These are a few that I pulled out that I thought that I might use for these cards. So I'm just gonna find one that I want to use. I really like the one that I put on my other box. Let's go with this one. No, I want to use that one on the inside. Let's do this one. Okay, so I have this one, and the first thing I need to do is obviously I need to cut it down. And because I like the way watercolor has I like having the white border on my watercolor. So I'm going to cut it down so that I can put a white piece behind it. So I'm going to remove a 1/2 inch from my measurement. So I'm going to cut this to 3 by 5. Or no, 3 by 4.5, sorry. And that will give me, I want to keep a little more of the pink part and less of the orange part, so I'm going to go 4.5. Just like that. So that's my finished watercolor piece. Now I'm going to take a white piece and I'm going to cut it 1/4 inch bigger. So I did 3 by 5 or 3 by 4.5, so I'm going to do 3 1/4 by 4 3/4. Okay, so now I have this, and I have the nice white border that I like. Okay, then I'm going to take this piece and I'm going to put it on here where I want it. And I learned this from the last bit, is that it doesn't punch as well once you put it on. So I want to, I got the purple on there, darn it. I want to put it on there, and then I'm going to punch. So I'm going to attach this. I'm using my strong adhesive. This is adhesive that I know holds up, to stick it to the white paper, because the watercolor paper is very thick, and I want to make sure that it sticks good. Then I'm just going to put this in here, kind of where my mark is, and punch. And then that should help it to line up right where it needs to be, and it does. Or not. Grr. Okay. Well, anyways, you have now seen how I decorate it. I'm just going to go back to my original one because I like this one, so I'm going to use this one. But I'm going to show you how to put this together. Okay, so the first thing that we need to do is crease all of your folds. Crease all your score marks. Okay. The other benefit, if you don't want to use watercolor, there is a benefit to putting the pattern paper on it too, and that is that it makes your box stiffer. So, I mean, if you don't want to use a watercolor or whatever, and you could use some pattern paper, and that will help to create a stiffer, a more firm box for you too. Okay, so now I have my paper right, I'm calling this right side up. I'm going to fold up my tabs here, just the bottom tabs. Do not put any adhesive on the top tabs, okay? Then fold them out, and I'm going to turn my box over. I guess I could have done it that way too, but I don't know. I guess this is how I just did it. And I'm going to put my adhesive on those edges, okay? Now this part is kind of crucial. If you don't do this part right, then your box will not line up good. So you need to make sure that you have your box, I'm lining it up right to the edge. Okay, so this little tab here gets stuck in, and then this little tab gets stuck in as well, and the edge is getting lined up, of the edge of the paper, the edge of my front cover is getting lined up right to the edge of that fold. Okay, just like that. Then when you're done, open it up really well, then lay it down on its front side, and use your bone folder and press down to ensure a really good stick. And then when you're finished, your box should fold up just like so. Okay, and then it would have your decoration on it, just like so. Okay, I'm going to put that one aside because I liked this one better, so we're going to work with this one. It cooperated with me a little bit better, but you saw how to put the box together. Next, we're going to create the cards and envelopes to go inside. So first we have our cards, and we're going to start, we want our finished sides of our cards to be 3 1/4 by 4 3/4. Okay, so you start off with a piece of paper that is 6 1/2 by 4 3/4, and you're just gonna fold it in half. I don't usually like scoring my cards because they don't tend to line up for me as well, so I usually just fold them on my own. I don't know why they don't line up. They just don't tend to line up as well for me. So I'm gonna cut all of these, or score all of these, and I already had them cut because, like I said, I had already filmed this. So you just cut yours down to 6.5 by 4 3/4, and then fold them in half. Okay, so there's our 3 cards. And I want to stick with the same theme for these, so I'm going to pick, or 4 cards, I'm sorry, we have 4 cards. I'm going to pick 4 pieces of paper. I like that one, and I like that one, and I like this one. So I got 2 blues and 2 pinks. I'm going to use those. And I'm going to use the best parts of them so I can determine which ones I like better. So I'm going to cut this. I'm going to cut them all down. These are 3 1/4, 3 1/4. I think I'll cut them down just 1/4 of an inch less. So I'm going to cut them 4 1/2 by 3 and by 3. Yeah, I think that'll work. Okay, so let's go 3. Maybe I'll go just a little bit bigger. I'm going 3 1/8 by 4 5/8. Okay, so that's what I'm left with. Let's see how that fits on the card. Perfect, and it just has a tiny little white border, so that's exactly what I want. Okay, so let's cut this one down, and you'll notice what I'm doing is one side I'm just giving it a straight cut because I have those weird edges, and then once I get it straight there, then I'm going to go ahead and do 3 1/8 by 4 5/8, and that gives me a nice little piece there. Then I'm going to do the same thing with this one. 3 1/8 by 4 5/8, keeping the best part of the watercolor, whatever part you think is the best part. Where's the other piece? There it is. This one was one of my favorites. I love this top color here. So I'm going to keep as much of the top color as I can. So 3 1/8, and I'm going to cut off a lot of the blue one here, or the light blue, I mean, by 4 5/8, and there we go. So we have those all ready to go. Okay. All we're going to do then is place them onto each card. And then I was also playing around, and I have these little butterflies that I printed, and let's see if you can tell. Can you see the shine there? I foiled them with my Heidi Swap Mink machine. Let me turn on autofocus here for a minute and see if we can't focus. There we go. Let's see here. Come on, focus, focus. There we go. You can focus it. And these were stamped, and I just stamped and then scanned it and printed it with my laser printer so that I could foil them. So you can see that it makes really cool. I love the effect of laser foiling. And then I watercolored them with Distress ink. So I think maybe we'll put those on. And then I also have over here, I have this, I just foiled these, so they are just they're cooling. Perfect. I have this little gold foil, the thing that says, it says birthday wishes, and you can see the gold foil. I love this little, or this machine. It's so cool. Okay, but we need to figure out how I want to cut them. How do I want to put them on? Do I want to put, I think maybe I'll put the green one on this one, and then I'll put that one on there, purple on there, that one on there. There we go. We'll go with that. And then birthday wishes. I just can't get over how pretty these look when they're foiled. I love my foil machine. I actually got it on clearance at Joann's not too long ago. I love it. So I'm going to just go ahead and stick this on here like so. There we go. And then I'm gonna just, I put my fingernail there at the body and then fold it up so that the wings have a tiny bit of lift. And then I'm just gonna figure out how I want to cut that out. Let's see here. I don't think this is going to be big enough. Oh, look at that, it is. Do I want to do that? Yeah, I kind of like it. So I'm going to cut that out there. One thing I have done that I don't always necessarily want these printouts to be white, so I have watercolored them to allow them. After I have foiled them, I have watercolored them. Oopsie. There we go. And they turn out really good when you do that too. You can tell I watercolored these and they turned out really good. Okay, so we just have our little birthday wishes. And I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to put a strip of adhesive right there in the center. Okay, just like that. Then I'm going to stick it down right where I want it. Kind of like that. Okay, then I want these to stay up. So what I'm going to do is I have my homemade glue dots here. I'm just going to grab 2 of these little buggers and stick them together and kind of stick them right up underneath there, and that's going to give it the dimension. Even once you put it in an envelope, it will keep its, it'll stay, it won't get flat. So you can see it'll stay there. Okay, then I'm going to go ahead And I want to add no, I guess I don't like that. Okay. I'm gonna just stick this on there. Maybe I want to put it on the inside. Nope. I'm gonna just stick that right there, and I don't want it to have any dimension at all. So I'm gonna leave it. It looks so plain. I wonder if I take another one. And just sort of offset it a little bit. Sure, why not? Okay, I'm gonna stick this one. This is one that I have already pre-punched. I had a bunch sitting around. And it's punched out of shimmery paper. It's glittery. See if you can see the sparkles. It's iridescent sparkles. And who doesn't love iridescent sparkles? Right? Stick a couple of my homemade glue dots on there, and then we'll just stick it right there, and then we have a very lovely card. Okay, so let's make another one. Once you have a plan, then they can go really quick, and you could make a whole bunch of these as a little gift for Christmas. You could give them out, have them sitting around, so that if someone comes over with a gift, or someone comes over and you need a last minute gift, you just give them a box of cards. I'm going to put a strip of glue down the center of the butterfly and place the butterfly right there. Then fold up my wings, grab two. And the reason I grabbed two is just because one, while one would give it some dimension, I think I wanted a little more dimension than what one would give it. And if you want to know how to make the homemade glue dots, I do have a video on how I made them. I believe I put it up. Sometimes I film a video and then I never even post it. How crazy is that? So there we go with that. Let's grab another sparkly. Whoops, I did a bad job punching that one out, didn't I? Oh well. It's okay. Put that on there just like so. Grab a few glue dots. These are made from a bottle of Eileen's Tack It and Retack It glue for, I think it was $6, and I used a coupon on it. I was able to make, I think I've made about 20 sheets. I finally ran out of the glue, and I think I probably made about 20 sheets of this, about this size, and I have that many glue dots on each sheet, so that's a pretty good deal, I think. $3 for all those glue dots. And I did make some big ones and some little ones, so that's the thing. I think this one might be my favorite. I love the color scheme of it. It looks very fall-y, and I love fall. Okay. Then the glue on there. Oh no, I wanted this to be on that part. Oh well, we'll put the butterfly over here. Okay. Grab 2 glue dots. Ball them up, put them together, stick them right underneath there. 2 glue dots stuck right underneath there. And there we go. Then we take an iridescent scallop circle and our birthday wishes. And I can't remember if this one was a stamp too or if this was just punched or printed. I did take a bunch of sentiments and print them, just typed them up and printed them. I think this one might have been a stamp, but I did take a bunch and just pre-stamped them and then I scanned them and printed them all out so that I could foil them. I'll show you. I actually have this with all of my printed images for foiling. Everything that I've stamped or got online or made. I should put this one on this side too then. Everything that I've made, I just print them and then throw them in those bags, and then they hang right next to me, and whenever I'm making a card and I'm in need of a sentiment, if I want to foil it, I can just go right there, and I already have them pre-printed and ready to go. Then I just have to choose the color of foil I want them to be, and I can foil them. I have to say, it's probably the coolest tool that I've bought in a long time for scrapbooking. I'm in love with it. Oops, I forgot to put this one onto the card first. That's going to be a little bit more complicated. Okay. There we go. Alrighty. Then we just stick this one right to the card base. And we have our 4 cards finished just like that. And you could easily do this even quicker if you didn't want a watercolor. Then you could do them with just pattern paper too. Okay. All right. So next up, we need an envelope for each of these. I'm going to put my glue dots away because things do stick to them quite easily. So you always want to cover them up. Alrighty. So next, I'm going to tell you about a website where I go. I use my envelope punch board to make, when I'm making a project like this that is an off-size card, I like to make my own envelopes. I like to make my own envelopes anyways, but especially when I have an odd-sized card like this, you know, it's going to be hard for you to find an envelope that's this size. So what I do is I make my own. But there's this website that will help you to do that because it is not easy to figure out the measurements for an odd-sized card. It's something it's a little bit more complicated than, it's a little more math than I like to do. So I found this website, and the website is called imjustlovinit.blogspot.co.uk. And what she has on hers is a crafty envelope punch board calculator. All you do is you type in the dimensions of your card. In our case, it's 3.25 by 4.75. And then it will tell you the paper size that you need, which in our case is 6 3/4 by 6 3/4. It's square. It's always square. And then it'll give you your score line too. So your first score line is going to be at 2 7/8. So thank you very kindly to this person who looks like her name is Carol. And she's from the UK. So I love this. I absolutely love this. There's also one, I can't remember the name of it right now, but there's also one that will give you, you tell it the size box you want to make, and it will give you the measurements to make a box with this. I have a harder time making boxes with the envelope punch board, so I prefer to just make my own without using it, but I do love making envelopes with this. So we're going to do this one. I've already punched in my measurements, and I already know that I need a piece of paper that is 6 3/4 by 6 3/4, and I am going to make my first score mark at 2 7/8. Right there. Excuse me. And then I'm going to turn it around, and I'm going to score. I'm going to line that up. I'm going to score and punch. And line it up again, punch and score, and then one more time, and line it up and punch and score. And now we have the start of a very lovely envelope. Okay, so we're going to do that 4 times. I've already cut all the pieces of paper because, as I said earlier, I have already filmed this video once or twice or 3 times. Man, I hope it's still recording. Let's check here real quick. We are recording. Good. Okay. Lined up. Punch and score. And punch and score. I don't know if you can tell, but I have some written down here. These are for the one that's on here for the standard size card. I didn't like the way that it fit, so I found a different measurement for that one, and I like that one much better. And also a measurement for a 2.5 by 3.5 envelope for pocket letters, and I just wrote them on there because I kind of like using those a lot, so I didn't want to have to look it up every time. Line up and punch. Line up and punch and score and punch. And one more time. And you'll notice that I do mine when I'm making a few like this. I like to do it in steps. I don't just make one envelope completely and then go on. I just kind of do it all as a process. When I need to make a bunch of envelopes, I like to do it that way better. Okay, I'm all finished with this. And also, I don't always corner around them with the corner rounder on there, because if I corner around them with my We Are Memory Keepers corner rounder, then I can do them all at once and save myself a step. So a lot of times I'll just do that because it's easier. I've tried to do more than one in the envelope one, and it doesn't do them as well. Then we're going to fold these in. Okay. I sometimes like to give my envelopes a little bit more dimension, and I will sponge around the edges of all the pieces just for a little bit of interest, but I'm not going to on today because, well, I don't want to make this video much longer than it has to be. We're already at 40 minutes, so all I'm doing now is I don't like to cut this part off, so I just score it on each one and fold it in as I'm taping him down. I don't like the look of leaving it up, but that's just my personal preference. Some people leave them up and they like that, so that's their personal preference. I just put a couple of tick marks on it, and then I line those tick marks up on the scoreboard here and score it. Line them up and score. I'm going to put it aside. Boom. Okay, now I'm done with that. I'm going to set it aside. Then I like to take my adhesive, and if it works, okay, now you're making me angry. Come on, adhesive. I run it all the way along the edge and into the corner there. Then I fold that down, and then bring it up, and then I have, to me, what looks like a more finished envelope. Okay. Then the last step for me is, if I'm giving this as a gift, I want to apply some adhesive. I like to use double-sided adhesive, and I just put it right up along the edge there. And I usually only do this if I'm making cards, envelopes for myself, then I usually don't do this. I just seal them with my regular adhesive. But I do this if I'm giving it as a gift, because then the person doesn't have to try to find their own way to seal it. They can just use that. Okay, so let's test it out and see if it works. The envelope fits. Boom, yay. Perfect. So let's go on to the next one. We're going to fold this, crease it, open it back up, apply adhesive there and there, and then I fold this down and then bring it up, apply pressure to ensure a really good stick. Take some adhesive. This double-sided adhesive is also from the same company as this. I went to Tuesday Mornings and they had a package of them. That's why I wanted to try them all along, but I never found them, and I didn't want to order them online if I didn't like them, because I wanted a smaller, I like a smaller thing for when I'm making cards, because, well, this is just massive for card making. It's really good for book making, mini album making, but when you're just making cards, you kind of want something a little bit smaller. But I'm in the process of testing it. So far, I think that it has a pretty good stick. You just have to really put pressure on it to make it stick well, is what I'm finding. As opposed to with my tape runner, I don't really need to apply that much pressure. Once it's down, it's down. And I've not used this before. This came with it too, but I've not used it yet, so I'm hoping that it's good. Okay. I'm making this little set as a gift from my mother-in-law. She loves to have little cards on hand. So, oh yeah, I also came with this. These little things were switched, but I was playing one day and I switched them around because I like the different colors. But it came with this one too. This one is just a straight line. Whoops. This one is dotted, and this one is a straight line. I'm not sure really why you would want it, why the difference would matter. But, you know, I figured they came in a set. I would try them out. I still find myself going back to my other tape runner because I know that it sticks and holds well for certain things, but I just gotta give it time, I guess. Okay. Now we've got all of our envelopes done, all of our cards done, and our box done. Now is the real test to see if they fit inside the box. Looks like I even could have gave it a little more space. Open it up. And then look at that. It's a perfect fit. Sweet. So then I could put on here a little something. If I had another butterfly, I would stick that there. But I only made 4 of them. But I could tie it up nicely and make it look pretty. But essentially, we have made a little gift set. And it took us about 50 minutes. I feel like it could have taken a little bit less time if I'd had a plan for what I wanted to do the cards, maybe. I don't know. But if I'd had to do the watercoloring while I was making the cards, it probably would have taken a lot more time. But since I already had the watercoloring down, and I actually really like the way that they turned out. It looks kind of cool. I didn't know if I would like them with the cut off watercolor pages, but they look nice. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you learned something or that I inspired you to create something. If you have any questions, as always, feel free to email me. If you have any comments, feel free to leave them down below. I would love to hear from you, and I will talk to you all again very soon.